I wanted to see if we could take a complete beginner and turn them into a full-time filmmaker. So I took a random person on the internet, gave them some advice on how to shoot better content and land clients, and here's what happened. So far, we've set up George's email address, we've created his website, revamped his socials, put together a solid portfolio, started the outreach strategy, and now we need to talk about pricing and how we can ensure more people see your messages and read your emails. To you guys, if you've just come across this video, then I definitely recommend you check out the last 3 episodes to put everything into context and make sure you get the most value out of this series. So the main 2 reasons that people don't get replies for their email outreach messages is 1, because the email subject is terrible, which is absolutely destroying your open rate. And the second is you forgetting to chase them up. Now just wait, if you did watch the previous episode, I have already touched on this, but I'm gonna be giving you a brand new strategy to help you automate all of these sequences. So George, I want you to type into Google right now, email automation, and let me know what comes up.
So basically just loads of companies that use email automations.
Exactly. I wouldn't have expected anything different. Yeah. But it goes to show there are so many apps out there that can really help with this workflow. And these apps can be designed so that if a user doesn't reply to your email, then they'll send an automatic follow-up on your behalf. So you don't actually need to be sitting at your desk sending follow-up emails. It's all done automated. So obviously it's in the name. Now, one thing to remember though is make sure your first email is always bespoke. Otherwise the end user is gonna know it's spam, and no one wants to be like hit with loads and loads of follow-up emails if they know it's spam from the start. So bespoke first email, then you can use an automation system to help with the follow-up sequences from there. We currently use something called Active Campaign, but there's loads out there, so just find the best fit for you guys and the one that's best for your budget. So the other point that really destroys your open rates is your subject line. So George, with your limited experience, if you were to email a potential customer, you found someone online, you found their details, they're called Graham and they do whatever, what would you put as your email subject line?
I would probably put video content or photography content.
Yeah, nice.
Something
yeah, good.
like
George looks just as surprised as like I was expecting to get a grilling again. Yeah. No, it's fine. You do a lot of things right. Yeah. Absolutely vital that your email subject line is something that doesn't give your game away, but gives them enough of a response to want to open the email to find out more. So for instance, if I started to put like, their business name, let's say car repairs times Perspective Studios, it's gonna be spam. If it's like, I bet you'll never open this email, it's like, does that paint your picture in your business in the right light? I'm not so sure it does. But by keeping it simple, by using something like video content or website videos or social media video or Facebook video, it makes them think, Facebook video? Oh, is there a problem with my Facebook video? Is there someone complaining about my Facebook video? It doesn't necessarily say, we're gonna create Facebook videos for you or website videos. So it elicits some kind of reaction to make them think, hey, I'm curious, I wanna find out more. I'm not sure who this person is. So firstly, if they're anything like me, if I get an email from someone I don't know, I'm instantly like, oh, it's probably spam. So then I look at the subject line, and then if it's engaging or it's something like, Facebook video, I'm probably gonna open it up to then see what it's about to find out a little bit more. So make sure you're using a really good subject line that's actually gonna make them feel curious, but doesn't give the game away too soon. Otherwise, it'll all be for nothing because they won't open it and it will destroy your open rates. So you've sent out some emails, you've got some replies, they want to land a meeting with you, and you're walking into that office or you're embarking in a conversation with them and they say, George, how much is a video going to cost me? What's your initial thought process? What's your feeling?
Oh no.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell everyone, one of the first things you said to me when we started this journey, the main question that you said that you wanted to find out, what was it?
It was pricing, 100%. I've always struggled with it. I never know what to charge. It always differs. And I always think I'm either charging too little or I'm charging too much.
Absolutely. You won't be alone with that as well. And I have also been through this, but it becomes easier when you grow your business more and more because you start to understand industry standards, you start to understand budgets and also different types of work as well. And I think that's really important to kind of suggest is that this pricing plan that I'll structure won't be the right fit for everyone, and you guys can adapt this to what works for your businesses. It's just I'm only going to teach the things that have worked well in my business through, unfortunately, trial and error and through running into lots of problems, particularly when it comes to pricing. So let's have a little breakdown of that right now. Okay, so let's break it down. One of the easiest things to do is just to include everything into your day rate. And I know some of you will be saying, oh Ross, but I don't know what my day rate is. Don't worry, I'll come back to that in a second, but we need to know how to structure an invoice, okay? George said to me earlier, should I be charging for my camera? There's a lot of people out there that would say yes, but my argument is, if I'm a client, why, and I say, okay, George, no, £200 for your A7S III. What the hell's an A7S III? Can't I get an A7S1? Why won't that do the job? And you just open yourself up for so many problems. You guys are the experts in this industry. So you should be saying to them, this is the camera that will do the good job for this. That's included in the price. If you want this red cam or you want this cam, it's going to cost you more. But your experience will tell you that. And I can guarantee, because it's the same as us, 90% of our jobs don't require external cameras, so we don't need to charge additional for that. We just include everything within our day rates and we factor in our day rates around that. So I would keep it really simple. I explained in the video recently as well, I would just focus on, is there any pre-production required? That's your time spent in the office or in your garage or bedroom or wherever you're working from, to then say, right, okay, how much planning do I need to do? Do I need to storyboard this? Yes, no, and start to understand pre-production. Then the actual production, what is your filming day rate? How much do you want to charge? And again, I will go into, don't click off the video, I will go into this in more detail in a second. So outline your filming day rate, then your editing day rate as well. And then finally, you just want to think about things like travel, if you've got to pay for a music license, if you're not signed up to an external platform or something. And that is pretty much it. I feel like I'm going to get a grilling from these guys because I think someone last time was like, oh, did you forget about this? But in my invoices, I'll be honest with you, it's pretty much just those factors. Filming, editing, maybe pre-production if it's required on some projects, and then basically travel is more or less it. We keep it really simple because I was going to say we have all, but you guys might not have, but when you receive an invoice with a huge breakdown, it's like, you're like, do I need this? And you feel like you get off on a really bad relationship with that supplier because you're saying to the supplier, what's this? What's this? Do I need this? Can I change this? Whereas if you can just give them, a very simple breakdown, they can kind of say yes or no. It's a lot more easier for them to understand. Now, there are other pricing strategies such as value-based pricing. That generally for us works a lot better if you're doing strategy with businesses, but that really comes later on. If you're starting out on your journey as a videography business or as a freelancer or starting a video production company, then just focus on day rates for the time being. It's going to make your life so much easier. It's the industry standard, so just focus on that. Get yourself going, grow your business, then start to look at other pricing strategies around it. Now, before I go into how much money should I pay you for a video, you need to understand, and this happened in a podcast I was on recently. The guy said, if you want to charge £5,000 for a video, you first need to produce a £5,000 video. And what's meant by that is you can't have a portfolio that looks like £100 a day or $100 a day if you're trying to pitch for work that's $10,000. There's just a huge disconnect. So it's being honest and open and understanding where you fit. Where does your portfolio fit? You can't charge $5,000 for a video if your work looks like $3,000. That's the essence of it. Now, if you are creating a $5,000 video, you also need to think there's going to be a lot of costs involved in that as well, which is why the very simple answer to how much should I charge is just increase your rates every 3 to 6 months, just increase them slightly. So if you get a project where you've managed to land $100 for filming and $100 for editing, so $200 for a project, next time charge $250. Next time, charge 300 and keep moving up until you start to see a bit of a drop off. Now, some people might say, well, actually, I've been a hobbyist for years and I've got a really good portfolio. Awesome, that's sick. Don't start at $100. You're going to sell yourself short. So, and you're kind of in this position as well. So the best thing to do is ask. Just ask other people, what do you charge? Try and connect with some people on Instagram or YouTube, and those kind of creators can kind of be like, my content kind of looks like yours. How much do you charge? And just ask them that question. And most people will be pretty open with you. That's how I learned. I had a really good friend of mine who's an amazing action sports photographer, travels the world, earns thousands of pounds per day because he's so good. And I said, mate, I'm just starting out. I don't know how much I should be charging these people. And he just said exactly the same things I've just told you. And at the time I thought, I don't know, that feels a bit weird. But honestly, I think it's just the best strategy. It is something that I used and I now look back on and think that makes so much sense. Compare yourself to other people in the industry. Ask them how much they're charging. Because if you've got a friend who's producing worse quality content than you and they're always busy and they're charging $400 a day, and you should probably be charging at least $400 a day, okay? So does that, I hope it doesn't feel too wishy-washy, but how does that sound to you? Like, does it make sense, or have you got any more questions about that pricing structure that perhaps that hasn't answered?
No, that does make more sense in my head. You know, what I wanted to do was try and get a good basing so I can learn for myself at how much I'm gonna cost in the future. And as you say, like if you keep on chatting to people, you know, they're gonna give you some advice, and you know, you can go from there and start making up what you think you're worth.
The other thing that I want to touch on really quickly as well is we'll cover this more in the next video where we're going to be going through a role play meeting strategy, and I'm going to come up with lots of objections that I've been faced with in the past, so you guys know how to deal with them and how you can take a client who is feeling and looking like they hate you into someone that's ready to spend thousands of dollars with you, okay? So that'll be the next video, but what I do want to touch on is having a simple pricing structure and sticking to a day rate that doesn't change from client to client depending on how much you think they've got in their bank account can really, really help you answer questions such as, right, let's say you're doing a $5,000 video for me. Can you give me a discount? Well, you don't know, right? So you need to understand our prices aren't plucked out of thin air. They're not made up just because, yeah, that sounds like a good price. They're there because experience tells us that we have to invest a bit of money here. You know, the sales are accounted within those things as well. Also, what our profit margins are for our staff and the running costs and things like that, so that we know we've got a figure that we can't go below. Because if we go below that, then we're making a loss on that day. But I'm going to contradict myself ever so slightly here. And this is something as business people, you need to be able to adapt to. And this is so, so valuable. You need to ask yourself the question, do you want the work? Yes or no? So when someone comes to you with a low budget, you ask yourself, do I want the work? Yes or no? Just because you do it for low budget, you don't have to tell everyone you've done it for low budget. You can keep that to yourself. Because sometimes we have days here where everyone's sitting around not doing anything, we're caught up for work. Would I rather make £300 or $300 or $0? Even though that's below our minimum daily, break-even point. If no one's doing anything, I'd rather make some money than no money. So start to think about that, but you also don't want it to jeopardize or get in the way of shoots that are costing or going to be earning thousands of dollars from. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Sick. If you guys don't have a clear hold on your figures and understanding that, and you can't present that in a meeting to a client, it's going to absolutely destroy their trust with you. And if you've destroyed their trust or their confidence in you, because they'll be thinking, how does this guy not know how much a video costs? Well, yes, every video is different, but give me a price. Come on, give me a price. They're going to be thinking, well, and I know this, by the way, because this has happened to me many times when I was learning. And I think, you just need to have these figures so that you know what you can do in any kind of given meeting situation. Because ultimately, if you don't know these things, it could end up with you losing the job. If you want to know how I practice for meetings, when I'm pitching for tens of thousands of dollars of work, then you really should watch this video. George and I do a role play where I teach him some strategies on how to deal with clients when you're in a face-to-face meeting or on a video call. We talk about the psychology, body language, what you should wear, and what strategies you can do to make sure they buy from you. We'll also be checking George's DMs to see if he's got any replies from our outreach strategies. So click the video and I'll see you shortly.